The call came while I was still in my fire inspection uniform, sweat drying at the collar, clipboard on my desk like I could pretend my day was normal. My name is Lorelei Vance. I am 33 years old, and I work as a city fire inspector in St. Louis. I spend my days telling strangers where the exits are, and my nights trying to believe my own home has them too. "Ma'am," the storage facility manager said, voice low like he didn't want the cameras to hear him, "your stepfather is here. He's got bolt cutters." Everything inside me went quiet. Not fear, not shock. Recognition. Because I'd been waiting for that exact sentence the way you wait for a smoke alarm you already smelled in the hallway. You don't panic. You confirm. You act. I stared at my reflection in the dark computer screen. Hair pulled tight. Face still. Eyes that had learned to stay dry in emergencies. My hands didn't shake. They never did when it mattered. "Is he at my unit?" I asked. "Yes, Unit 214. He told my staff he's family now and that you're being difficult." The manager paused. "Lorelei, he's smiling, like he thinks this is already settled." Of course he was smiling. My stepfather, Rhodes, didn't raise his voice when he wanted something. He didn't have to. He was the kind of man who wore charm like a uniform and used other people's exhaustion as leverage. He could drain a room without anyone noticing they were thirsty until they collapsed. "Do exactly what we discussed," I said. "Call security, call police, do not engage, document everything." He exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for days. "Already done. I just needed your confirmation." When the call ended, I didn't move right away. I sat there listening to the distant sounds of my office, printers humming, someone laughing down the hall, the world continuing like my life wasn't about to tilt. Then I opened my desk drawer and touched the key. Not the shiny one on my everyday ring, not the spare in my glove box. The real one. Old brass, heavy, smooth, like it had been rubbed by time and intention. People think storage units are about stuff. Furniture, boxes, old clothes, forgotten memories. Mine was never about storage. It was about proof. Quick real-life pause, this part is for me. Some nights I'm editing and I want to quit, but then I see your comments and I keep going. Tap like, subscribe, and tell me where you're listening from. Okay, continuing. All right, now let me take you back. 2 years ago, my father died on a Thursday morning that looked like any other. Gray sky, cold coffee, one missed call I didn't answer fast enough. He wasn't dramatic. He didn't leave last-minute speeches or guilt-heavy video messages. My dad loved plans, paperwork, quiet safeguards that didn't rely on anyone's feelings being stable. At the funeral, people told me I was so strong because I stood beside my mother and kept my voice steady when hers broke. They didn't understand that strength wasn't a personality trait in my family. It was a habit. A week after the funeral, a man in a plain suit asked to see me alone. He handed me an envelope and said, "Your father instructed me to give you this only if you were by yourself." Inside was a key and a single page of instructions written in my dad's neat handwriting. "Do not explain. Do not rush. If anyone asks, record it. If anyone tries to enter without you, let them show who they are." I read it 3 times, not because it was confusing, but because it felt like my father was still telling me where the exits were. My mother never knew about that envelope. I didn't hide it out of cruelty. I hid it because my mother, Marlene, loved people into softness. She forgave too quickly because the alternative felt like being alone, and my dad knew loneliness could make a person accept poison if it was offered in a warm cup. 9 months later, she met Rhodes. He introduced himself at a neighborhood barbecue like he'd been practicing in a mirror. Gentle laugh, firm handshake, little compliments that sounded thoughtful but landed like hooks. "You're Lorelei," he said. "The fire inspector, that's impressive. Your dad must have been proud." His eyes didn't linger on my face. They lingered on my mother's house. Rhodes moved in within 6 months. He didn't call it moving in, of course. He called it being there for her. He started fixing things around the house, organizing her mail, paying bills to take stress off her shoulders. Neighbors adored him. My mother looked relieved for the first time in a year. And then the questions started. Not loud, not greedy. Just structured. Did your dad have any accounts still open? Did he leave anything in writing? What's that storage unit downtown for? Why keep paying for it if it's just junk? He asked like he was helping, like he was cleaning up sadness. But I do fire investigations for a living. I know what it looks like when something is framed as an accident on purpose. I never snapped at him. I never accused him. I smiled. I answered vaguely. I watched. Rhodes learned quickly that direct pressure didn't work on me, so he applied it through my mother instead. He'd plant a thought, then wait for it to come out of her mouth like it was her own. Rhodes thinks it's risky, she told me once on the phone, voice careful. Having things scattered. He worries if something happened to me, you'd be overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. That word made me laugh without humor. Because Rhodes didn't worry about my mother's safety. He worried about access. So I quietly updated the storage unit contract. Only my ID, only my signature, no spouses, no exceptions. I paid extra for added security. And behind the obvious lock, I relied on the thing my father trusted more than any padlock. A hidden truth, placed where entitlement would never look. Back in my office now, with that key cold against my palm, I stood and grabbed my coat. I wasn't going to race there like a desperate daughter trying to protect stuff. I was going to walk into a moment my father designed. Because Rhodes thought bolt cutters could break a barrier. He didn't understand the barrier was never the metal. It was the evidence waiting on the other side, patient as a smoke detector, ready to scream the second someone tried to pretend the fire wasn't real. I locked my office door behind me and headed for my car, already hearing in my mind how Rhodes would explain this to my mother later. He'll say he was helping. He'll say I forced him. He'll say I'm cold. And when I arrive, I'll have to decide whether I show my mother the truth or let Rhodes dig deeper until he buries himself. My phone stayed face down on the passenger seat as I drove. I didn't want the screen lighting up with distractions. I wanted to arrive with my mind clear, the way my father taught me. One decision at a time, one door at a time. The storage facility sat off a busy stretch of road, wedged between a car wash and a wholesale bakery. Ordinary places are perfect for people who want to do extraordinary damage quietly. I pulled into the lot and parked where the cameras could see my plates. Habit. Evidence starts with angles. I walked in with my badge still clipped to my belt and my uniform crisp enough to make people stand straighter. I didn't plan it that way, but I wasn't going to apologize for looking official. Men like Rhodes mistake softness for permission. They don't know what to do with someone who looks like she came prepared to write a report. The manager, Grant, was waiting behind the counter with a man in a security jacket. His face loosened when he saw me, like he'd been holding up a ceiling. "Thank God," he murmured. "He's in the hallway near your unit." "I know," I said. "Where are the officers?" Grant nodded toward the glass door to the side office. "One is here, waiting. He wanted to speak to you first." I stepped into the office. A uniformed officer rose from a chair and gave me the calm look cops reserve for situations that can flip in seconds. "Ms. Vance," he said, holding out a hand. "Officer Hayes, we got a call about an attempted forced entry. You're the legal renter of the unit." "Yes," I answered. "Only authorized person." "Good, we're going to talk to him. But I want to understand something first," Hayes said. "Is he violent?" "No," I said, then corrected myself. "Not in the way people mean when they ask that. He doesn't hit. He pressures. He lies. He escalates when he thinks no one will challenge him." Hayes watched my face like he was measuring truth. Then he nodded slowly. "Understood. He has bolt cutters in his possession. Security stopped him from cutting the lock. He's claiming marital rights through your mother." "Marriage doesn't change my contract," I said. "No, it doesn't," Hayes agreed. "But it changes how people behave when they think it should." That sentence landed like a weight, because it was exactly what my father warned me about. People don't always need legal permission to become dangerous. Sometimes they just need to believe they deserve something. Hayes stood. Stay here for a minute, we'll address him. If he asks for you, you can choose whether to engage. I didn't answer right away. Choosing was the point. My father had left me options for a reason. He didn't want me reacting. He wanted me deciding. Through the office window, I saw Rhodes in the hallway, packing like he owned the building. He was dressed neatly, button-down shirt tucked in, hair combed, his face arranged into offended patience. His tool bag sat near his feet as if it belonged to a contractor, not a man trying to break into something he had no right to touch. Hayes and the security guard approached him. Rhodes lifted his hands in a gesture that screamed misunderstanding. "This is ridiculous," Rhodes said, loud enough for the cameras to catch his performance. "I'm family. I'm trying to prevent assets from being mishandled. She's my wife. That unit is part of her household." Hayes's voice stayed even. "Sir, the renter is Ms. Lorelei Vance. She is the only authorized party. You attempted to access the unit with tools. That is a problem." Rhodes's smile tightened. "Attempted? I haven't touched anything. I brought tools in case the lock needed maintenance. These places use cheap hardware. I was protecting what belongs to my wife." The lie was smooth, practiced, the kind that wasn't meant to convince a cop. It was meant to create doubt later for my mother. Rhodes didn't need to win with Hayes. He needed to make it sound complicated enough that Marlene would feel too tired to question him. Hayes looked down at the tool bag. "Bolt cutters aren't for maintenance." Rhodes gave a soft laugh. "You ever try to cut a chain with a cheap pair of pliers?" I came prepared. Prepared. Like that word made him responsible instead of guilty. Hayes's tone shifted, still calm but firmer. "Sir, I'm going to ask you to leave the premises now. You are trespassing in a restricted area." Rhodes's jaw flexed. For a second, the charm slipped and I saw something sharper underneath. Not anger exactly, calculation. He was deciding whether intimidation would work. Then he noticed the office window. His eyes met mine through the glass, and his entire face changed. He smiled wider, like we were on a stage, and he'd just found his favorite audience. "Lorelei," he called out. "There you are, tell them you're just being stubborn." Hayes glanced back at me, waiting. I stepped out of the office and walked into the hallway at a steady pace. I didn't hurry, I didn't hesitate. The echo of my boots was the only dramatic thing in the moment, and I let it be. Rhodes spread his hands like a wounded saint. "This is your doing," he said softly, so only I could hear. "You're embarrassing your mother over a dusty unit full of junk." "Stop calling it junk," I replied. He leaned closer, voice low and silky. "Or what? You'll call the fire department on me too." "I already called the police," I said, keeping my tone flat. "You brought bolt cutters to a unit you are not authorized to enter. That's not a misunderstanding. That's a decision." His eyes flicked quick toward Hayes, then back to me. "You're making this bigger than it needs to be." "It's already big," I said. "You just thought no one would measure it." Hayes stepped between us slightly. "Sir, last warning." Rhodes exhaled through his nose like he was offended by how stupid we all were. Then, with a deliberate slowness, he picked up his tool bag and started walking toward the exit. As he passed me, he angled his face close enough that I could smell his cologne, expensive and aggressive. "Locks don't protect what belongs to me," he whispered. "They just delay it." I didn't blink. "Then you better get comfortable waiting." His smile twitched. For a second he looked like he might say more, then he kept walking. Hayes watched him leave, then turned to me. "You want to press charges?" "Not yet," I said. Hayes studied me. "You're sure?" "I'm sure," I replied. "I want the documentation. I want the pattern. I want him to keep showing exactly who he is." Hayes nodded slowly, like he understood more than he could officially say. "We'll file the report. Facility will provide footage. If he returns, call again." "I will," I said. When the office door closed behind him, the facility went quiet again, but my heart didn't settle. Because I knew Rhodes wouldn't go straight home and admit what happened. He'd go home and reshape it. I stepped back into Grant's office. He looked shaken. "Did you hear what he said to me?" I asked. Grant swallowed. "Yes." "Print the footage, save copies, give one to the officer, give one to me." Grant nodded quickly, already exporting. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I didn't need to look to know who it was. "Marlene, my mother." I answered, and her voice came through like she'd been holding her breath. "Lorelei," she said, "Rhodes just called. He said you sent police to humiliate him." I closed my eyes for 1 second, not because I was tired, but because I could hear Rhodes in the background of her words. He had already written the story. "Mom," I said gently, "he went to my storage unit with bolt cutters." A pause, then her voice tightened. "He said those were for something else." "Ask yourself why he needed them at all," I replied. "Ask yourself why he didn't tell you before he went." She inhaled sharply, like she wanted to defend him, but the air wouldn't cooperate. "He said you're keeping things from me," she whispered, "that you don't trust me." The old ache rose in my chest, hot and sudden, not anger at her. Anger at how easy it was for Rhodes to make her doubt herself. "I'm keeping something for you," I said. "Not from you, there's a difference." "What is it?" she asked, voice trembling. "What is in that unit?" I looked down the hallway toward Unit 214. The metal door still closed, the lock still intact, the truth still where my father left it. "It's not just stuff," I said. "It's why Dad told me not to rush." My mother's voice cracked. "Are you saying he knew about Rhodes?" "I'm saying Dad knew what to do if someone ever tried to take what wasn't theirs," I replied. "And Rhodes just proved he's that someone." Silence stretched long enough that I could hear my own breathing. Then my mother spoke again, softer. "Please," she said, "just come home, talk to us." Us, that word made my stomach turn, because she didn't mean me and her. She meant the household Rhodes had built around her. "I'll come home," I said, "but not to talk, to show." Her breath caught. "Show what?" I turned the brass key in my fingers, feeling its weight like a heartbeat. "The reason he needed bolt cutters," I said. "And the reason he's going to panic when he realizes he walked into the wrong unit at the wrong time." I didn't go straight home. That was intentional. I drove past my mother's street once just to see if Rhodes's car was there. It was, parked crooked like he'd come in fast and angry. That told me everything I needed to know. He wasn't regrouping. He was spiraling. I went back to the storage facility instead. Grant met me at the gate without saying a word. He handed me a flash drive, his expression serious now, respectful. People change how they treat you when they realize you were never guessing. "The footage is all there," he said. "Multiple angles, time stamps, clear view of the tools." "Thank you," I replied. "You did exactly right." He hesitated, then said quietly, "I've worked here 15 years. Most people who try something like that bluff." He didn't bluff. He acted like permission was inevitable. "That's because it usually has been for him," I said. He nodded, like that explained everything. I walked down the hallway alone, my footsteps steady, controlled. When I reached Unit 214, I didn't rush. I rested my hand against the metal door for a moment, feeling the cold seep into my palm. My father used to pause like this before opening doors. Not out of fear, out of respect. He believed thresholds mattered. I unlocked the door and rolled it up halfway. The unit looked exactly the way it always had. Ordinary, boring. Boxes stacked neatly, labeled in my father's handwriting. Anyone else would have seen leftovers of a life already closed. I saw a plan still breathing. I moved to the back wall and slid aside 2 boxes marked old manuals and seasonal clothes. Behind them sat the matte gray cabinet, bolted into concrete like it was part of the building. This was what Rhodes didn't understand. The lock was never the defense. The truth was, I unlocked the cabinet and pulled out the folders one by one, laying them carefully on the folding table I'd brought. Trust documents, property separation agreements, beneficiary forms, every page dated, notarized, filed years before my father even got sick. and right on top, the letters. I took the envelope addressed to my mother and held it for a long moment before slipping it back into my bag. That one wasn't for here. It was for home. I scanned everything on my phone, uploaded copies to a secure folder, then repacked the cabinet exactly the way it had been. I locked it again, rolled the door down, and turned the key. When I walked out, my phone buzzed. A message from Rhodes. "You think you're clever. You think paperwork beats reality." I didn't reply. I drove home slowly, letting my pulse settle. When I pulled into the driveway, the house felt different, tighter, like it was holding its breath. Rhodes opened the door before I could knock. His smile was gone. "We need to talk," he said. "I know," I replied, stepping past him. My mother stood in the living room, hands clasped so tight her knuckles were white. She looked at me like she was afraid of what I carried and afraid of not knowing. I set my bag on the coffee table and took out the envelope. "Dad left you something," I said gently. Rhodes stepped forward. "That's private." "So was the storage unit," I replied. He froze. My mother took the letter with shaking hands and sat down. She read silently at first, then her breathing changed. Slower, deeper, like something inside her was finally lining up. "He knew," she whispered. Rhodes laughed, sharp and defensive. "Knew what? This is manipulation. She's been planning this. She wants control." I laid the documents out one by one. "This isn't control," I said. "This is consent. Dad made his choices, legally, clearly." My mother looked up at Rhodes. "You told me there was nothing like this." "I told you what mattered," he snapped. "What mattered to who?" she asked. The silence that followed felt permanent. I placed the printed still image from the security footage on the table. Rhodes at the unit. Tool bag open. Bolt cutters visible. "You went behind my back," my mother said, her voice steady now. "You lied." "I was protecting us," he insisted. "She forced me into it." "No," I said calmly. "You escalated because you thought no one was watching." The doorbell rang. Rhodes stiffened. I answered it. Officer Hayes stood on the porch, Grant beside him. "Ms. Vance," Hayes said, "we're following up on the report." Rhodes stepped forward. "This is a family matter." My mother spoke before I could. "No, it is." Hayes asked Rhodes to step outside. This time, Rhodes didn't argue. He complied. That told me more than any threat ever could. When the door closed behind them, my mother sat heavily on the couch. "I didn't want to see it," she said, "but I do now." I sat beside her. "That's why Dad told me to wait." She reached for my hand. "Thank you for protecting me." That night, Rhodes packed his things under supervision. No shouting, no drama, just the sound of a man realizing his access had expired. The house felt lighter after he left. In the morning, my mother and I went back to the storage unit together. She touched the boxes like they were familiar, not burdens. "He wasn't hiding," she said softly. "He was organizing." "Yes," I replied, "for this moment." Weeks later, the paperwork was finalized, boundaries set, accounts secured, silence restored. I went back to work, back to inspections, back to teaching strangers where the exits are. One evening, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "You'll regret this." I deleted it without hesitation. Because regret belongs to people who force doors open. What I did wasn't revenge. It was protection, delivered exactly on time.